building efforts during our chairship. Thank you.
Questions from the MPC? And the FOCAP. First, Maricel Nalili, TV5.
Good morning. ASEC, bilateral meetings with what particular countries?
These are still being confirmed. It will be announced in due course, several of them.
So how many, do we have a rough estimate?
No, some are still for confirmation, so several.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Marie Sumali, GMA News.
Hello po, ma'am. You mentioned a while ago about the geopolitical issues that will also be advanced by the Philippines in this ASEAN Summit. Given the ongoing tensions in the West Philippine Sea getting more intense, does the Philippines plan to raise specific incidents or concerns during the summit? And what concrete outcomes does the Philippines hope to advance at this summit, especially with regards to the progress of the Code of Conduct?
Okay, I cannot preempt what the President will say at the summit, but broadly speaking, peace and security, maritime cooperation are among the topics that will be discussed. As regards the Code of Conduct, well, as the incoming chair, the Philippines will work with ASEAN member states and China for the conclusion of an effective, substantive, and legally binding Code of Conduct in the South China Sea.
And a follow-up, ma'am, you also mentioned that, of course, the chairmanship will be turned over to the Philippines in this specific summit. As the Philippines prepares to chair the ASEAN in 2026, what transitional agenda items will Manila highlight at this summit? Can you mention?
No, I can only mention the broad areas that will be discussed during the summit, which is, as I mentioned, peace and security, maritime cooperation, economic integration, people-to-people connectivity, climate change, among others.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next question from Chloe Hufana, Business World.
Good morning, ma'am. With the 80 expected outcome documents, what are the key Philippine diplomatic priorities and economic priorities po?
Well, yung sa economic, we mentioned na yung signing ng 2 agreements. I think that is very important. Yung sa ATIGA at saka yung sa ASEAN-China Free Trade Agreement 3.0 update. So that is very important. Yun naman kasi mga outcome documents, these are really, sa dami ng mga meetings that were shown kanina, all of that they will discuss and they will issue outcome documents based on what are the issues between those who are meeting. So, ang importante sa atin, ito actually, yung Declaration of Admission of Timor-Leste, itong yung sinabi kong 2 economic agreements, and of course, our chairship of ASEAN, the handover.
Thank you, ma'am.
Katrina Domingo, ABS-CBN.
Hi, ma'am. The ASEAN-China Free Trade Agreement is expected to further ease trade relations between China and some ASEAN members. How concerned is the DFA that this new FTA would make several ASEAN members more dependent on China, considering that this has been one of the culprits in terms of the delays in the crafting and finalizing of the DOC and the COC?
Yung sa ibang area yon. So when we talk about our relations with China, West Philippine Sea is not the sum total of our relations with China. So we do cooperate with China on other areas, including on the economic pillar of ASEAN. So actually itong ASEAN-China Free Trade Area, this is considered as one of the most important economic partnerships of ASEAN. By upgrading it, dito sa 3.0 upgrade, it will become more comprehensive and aligned to global realities. So, mapapalalim ang kooperasyon sa green and digital economies. And this will also empower micro, small, and medium enterprises.
Just a follow-up question. We do know that the South China Sea issue is separate from the economic issue, but then again, it's soft power. It's giving leeway for China and other ASEAN countries to cooperate further to have better relations. How concerned is the Philippines that this would somehow strengthen China's hold or China's grip into other Southeast Asian economies?
Nako, ano na yan, not about the ASEAN Summit na yan. But really, I don't want to preempt what our officials will say, but as I mentioned, West Philippine Sea is not the sum total of our relations with China. we look at all the other areas of cooperation as well.
Next question from Jean Mangalus, Philippine Star.
Hi. U.S. President Trump is expected to attend the ASEAN Summit. So what can we expect from this? Will he meet with President Marcos? And is President Trump's presence at the ASEAN a pro or a con?
There are reports that he will attend, but we are still waiting for the chair Malaysia to make an announcement. How concerned are we? Well, as regards yung sa US natin, well, for us, it's really about engaging the US
In what fields?
in this economic field. So we will work with our ASEAN partners in really finding ways to constructively engage the US.
Will the U.S. tariffs come into discussion?
I cannot predict what will be discussed, but generally, our position is that we want to constructively engage the US, and we also want to discuss with other ASEAN member states on how to improve intra-ASEAN trade and make use of our existing FTAs.
Next, Lirina Monte, NHK.
Good morning, ma'am. You have mentioned that the president will be having bilateral meetings with various counterparts. May we know if China and Japan would be among those being considered for the bilateral talks?
At the moment, these are still for confirmation, so the information will be shared in due course.
But there were moves, like us requesting China or Japan or vice versa.
Let's just wait kasi for confirmation pa.
Okay. Well, you have mentioned that the Philippines is working for the conclusion of effective substantive COC in the South China Sea. Right now, where are we? Since next year, the Philippines will be hosting the ASEAN. So are we expecting that it could be signed by that time?
The Philippines believes, well, we are optimistic.
But how many percent if you're going to rate?
I cannot say that, and I'm not the negotiator, but we are optimistic.
Next, Chloe Hufana.
Ma'am, follow-up question lang po. Hindi po ba, meron po bang RCEP meeting this upcoming ASEAN, and will President Marcos attend this?
Yes, there will be an RCEP meeting, and yes, he will attend it.
May specific po ba siyang agenda?
Ang pag-uusapan kasi dito, the leader's direction in enhancing our CEP implementation and exchanging views on regional and international issues, and this is what I got from the DTI.
Thank you, ma'am.
From Jonah Kilagon, Asahi Shimbun.
Hi, good morning, ma'am. Regarding the situation in Myanmar, the junta in Myanmar plans to hold general elections soon. So how does the Philippines intend to approach these elections? Should representatives from Myanmar be reinstated to ASEAN meetings after the elections?
I cannot speak on the substantive part kasi dinidiscuss pa rin yan ating senior officials and our foreign ministers as a prelude to the leaders' meeting. I can only give the general position of the Philippines that, we want to see developments as regards to the situation in Myanmar, and we will work with other ASEAN member states as incoming chair.
Ma'am, have those developments reached a point where we can accept the political officials from Myanmar, or shall we stick to the career diplomats when we invite them to ASEAN meetings?
No, I don't have that information. I'm sorry.
Do we have information about who from Myanmar will be attending the summit meeting?
At the moment, I don't, but I can later give you the contact person of if the press needs someone to reach out to in Kuala Lumpur, we can share it.
Thank you.
Next question from Ronron Calunsod, Kyodo News.
Morning, ma'am. Going back to the reported attendance of Trump, how does the Philippines view these attendance of Trump? What does it say about his policy toward the bloc and the region? And in light of China's growing influence in the region, and can the Philippines leverage on this policy, knowing that we have a complicated relationship with China because of our dispute on the South China Sea?
No, I cannot preempt what our officials will say on that. I cannot speak on the policy side so much. But as I mentioned, we welcome partnership of the United States as one of our more important dialogue partners in ASEAN. We can wait for what our senior officials will say, again, as a prelude to the summit itself.
If there are no more questions, may we get a closing statement from ASEC Escalona?
Thank you very much, everyone, and we hope that there will be good coverage of the turnover ceremony, and after the turnover ceremony, there will actually be a launch of the Philippines ASEAN chairship, and there will be a more detailed press briefing on the Philippines chairmanship of ASEAN in 2026. That's why I cannot preempt what the officials will say during those briefings. Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant Secretary Angelica Escalona. Thank you, Malacanang Press Corps.
Thank you.